Well, we made it past 50 miles pretty quickly, so let's go ahead and get the full review out of the way of the Hoka One One Zinal. So as you can see, this shoe is pretty darn dirty right now. I mean, it's, yeah, it's been used. I think I have like 55, 60 miles on the shoe right now. I've put it through its paces pretty well. But first of all, let me tell you that Hoka did send this shoe to me to review. I did not pay for it. Hoka is not going to get to see this video at all before you guys. You're going to see it and then they'll see it at the same time. So I'll always give you my open and honest opinions regardless. So let's get to it. So yeah, this thing is dirty. I've used it a lot. I've used it on dry single track trails. I've used it in the wet. I've used it in a little bit of mud. I've gone through creek crossings. I've done everything with the shoe that you would use a trail shoe for, and I have found it to be great. Done. No review. That's it. No, just kidding. Just kidding. So I did do a first impression video. If you want to take a look at what this looks like before it got all dirty, top right corner, you can take a look at that. So firstly, let's get some stats out of the way. This is a 22 millimeter stack height in the rear, 18 in the front for a 4 millimeter drop in the men's. For the women's, it's 21 in the rear, 17 in the front. Don't know why difference, but it is. So both 4 millimeter drops. So a women's size 7 comes in at 199 grams. I weighed it clean in my other video. This is a men's size 11, and this came in at 269 grams. Just for kicks, let's throw this thing on the scale again and see what it weighs now that it is dirty. Comes in at 273 grams. Or 9.6 ounces. So it was definitely lighter when it was clean, which is understandable because it does have some actual dirt caked on it here and it's been used. So, but it is a very lightweight shoe and I love it. So Hoka says the Zinal is a shoe that's designed to tackle technical terrain with confidence, has a gecko-like outsole, they call it. It's a responsive trail runner designed for the shorter distances, but in my testing, I took this thing up to 25 miles. The very first one I did actually was 25 miles. And it felt fine. I didn't really have any foot fatigue, maybe just the slightest bit in my forefoot, but I could easily see this shoe going to a 50K, no problem. And maybe even a 50 miler depending on your foot, because it is individual. By the way, while we're at it, if you wouldn't mind hitting that thumbs up on the video, it really does help out a ton and lets YouTube know you like it and then they recommend it to other people. So yeah. All right, let's go ahead and talk about the upper. The upper, cool fact, is 100% vegan materials. So if you're a plant-based athlete like me, or if you're an ethical vegan and you want a shoe like that, the upper is 100% vegan. There you go. So it is a breathable mesh upper from recycled materials. You can see that the fabrics on it are very finely woven, but it does breathe very well. I wore this in about 92 degree heat, 93 degree heat, trail running with it. And, you know, for a short, hour to maybe 2 hours, my feet didn't really sweat in this shoe too much. At least I wasn't getting squishy. But the longer I ran, I did end up with some squishy feet because I sweat a lot personally. But this shoe does drain very well. When I went through creek crossings, of course, my foot got completely soaked and it dried within probably, 5-ish miles, which was great. It didn't hold water. It drained out really well and just made for that trail run to go a little bit better. And in the heel cup here, it is a very nice, I wouldn't say it's super plush, but it's definitely plush heel cup here. It's just very comfortable. Your foot will feel good in it. Heel counter is not super stout, which is fine. The tongue is not crazy thick either, but I actually really, really like this tongue. Whatever they did to it, I mean, it works really well, it's comfortable, and I didn't have any issues on the top of my foot. But the tongue is also gusseted, which will also help keep out some of that trail debris, keep the tongue from moving side to side, which is fantastic. Does have the extra eyelet up here on the top of the shoe, so you can do that runner's knot if you need to. I did not need to do the runner's knot in my testing with this. The lockdown was fine and my foot felt plenty secure. At the front of the shoe, there is a protective toe bumper. You can see here, it does come up from the outsole, and then they have this engineered portion over the top here, which worked pretty well. I hit a couple of rocks and roots and didn't really bang any toes up too bad, so it gets the job done for sure. And there is a molded EVA sock liner on the inside for that extra comfort. And just overall, I'd say the upper, I don't really do a numbering system kind of thing, but this is a great upper. It fits the foot well, secures your foot in the heel cup, breathes well. It's great. I love it. Lightweight. I'd like to see this kind of upper go to a couple other Hoka shoes, for a little bit more breathability. Torrent. I should also note that the toe box is pretty roomy. I don't have a really wide foot. It's a little bit wider than normal, I guess, but With this shoe here, I didn't have any rubbing on the shoe on the outside, kind of along the pinky or the big toe, and I wear toe socks, so that does kind of make your foot splay a little bit wider than regular toes, the XOSKIN toe socks. But this had plenty of room. It was very comfortable. It's thin, so it kind of stretched and moved around. I didn't feel like it was tight and kind of holding it in there where it was going to rub. So no issues with that at all. Okay, let's move on to the midsole. It's a comfortable one. It's springy. Has a lot of responsiveness to it for that toe off. It is the ProFly dual density midsole with ultralight foam on top and rubberized EVA on the bottom. It has plenty of cushioning for those landings and that responsiveness that you want for that toe off. Like I said before, it is a responsive, fast shoe. I did plenty of long runs in this shoe, but in those long runs, I also had to do what my coach calls like a tempo surge. So it might be a 15-minute to a 20-minute session where I'm running at like a 70 to 80% race pace. And this shoe was great for it. I mean, it was fast and light, and just that midsole did an awesome job. And let's move on to the outsole of the shoe. As you can see, there is some rubberized EVA exposed here, which is to reduce some weight, but then also you've got plenty of the Vibram light base outsole here on the rear and the front. It's just, you know, 4mm lugs, not quite as aggressive as like a Torrent or a Speed Goat, but it's a lot lighter weight, gives you plenty of traction. I had no issues with this on any of the runs I've done so far. I went to Frozen Head State Park, which has some steep sections of climbing. The trails were dry, so that obviously plays a part, but it was technical. I was jumping on rocks and off of rocks and running uphill, running downhill. Never once felt like I did not have traction. At Big South Fork, those trails are pretty well worn as well, but they also get a little overgrown in areas. Again, just no issue on gravel, double track, single track. Just a fantastic outsole. It gives you plenty of protection in the forefoot with that Vibram outsole. Helps, you know, keep a little bit of the rocks from puncturing through as well. And just, you know, gives you the grip you need. So now let's talk about a couple of things that I just really like about the shoe. Obviously, the lightweight of the shoe is just fantastic. You don't feel it. The lacing system is really good too. They're really nice, just flat laces. They do the job. They stay tied. I never had to double knot this shoe. They didn't come untied once. Overall, this shoe has been fantastic. One of my most fun shoes to run in on the trail. It just gives you that feeling that you can go, and if you want to go, it's ready for you. But it also has plenty of cushioning for those easy days if that's what you want to do in this shoe as well. Overall, I'm very happy with the shoe. I'm trying to think of some negatives of it, and honestly, I can't really think of any. It does everything really well. I mean, obviously this is not a super aggressive trail shoe, so if you're gonna be running in a muddy area, you're gonna want a different shoe. So know what the shoe is intended for, and this is basically an aggressive technical terrain trail racer. So if you're gonna be racing somewhere where there's a lot of, you know, granite slabs, you know, rock, or just dry trails, I wouldn't say buffed out trails, because this does fine on real technical stuff. But this shoe is going to excel at that, for sure. It's going to be great for a half marathon, for a marathon on the trail, for a 50K. I think you will be pleasantly happy with it if you decide to get the Hoka Zinal. This shoe comes in at 160 bucks, which is, you know, it's up there in the shoe range. You know, the Hoka Speedgo EVO is also right up in that area. That one's a lot higher stack height, more cushioning. But this one I feel a lot more stable in it. I think 160 is pretty good. Maybe I'd like to see it more like in that 145. That would be a much more competitive price point for this shoe, I think. But overall, fantastic shoe. Give it a shot. If you've tried the Hoka Zinal, let me know below what you think of it, if you like it as much as I do. I am going to be doing a shoe battle between this shoe and the Hoka Torrent 2 here coming up in just a little while. So if you're curious about upgrading from the Torrent 2 to the Zinal, be sure to check that out in a couple weeks. Okay, well that's going to do it for the Hoka One One Zinal. Hope you like the shoe as much as I do. I really do love this shoe. I can see this next 50K I do, I will certainly wear this shoe. I've got a couple of Strava segments I need to get back, and I'll probably take this shoe because it's designed, it's perfect for it. But anyway, please give the video a like if you haven't already. That would be really cool. Maybe click subscribe too if you want to check out some more videos like this in the future. But if you want to take a look at the first impression video I did of the Hoka Zinal, it's going to be on the left side of your screen. You can take a look at that. Over on the right hand side will be a playlist of shoe reviews. You can check out other shoes. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you all, and I'll see you on the next one. It's a shoe that's designed to tackle. So Hoka says the design. So Hoka says the. So Hoka says the. God, I can't say it at all. It's a responsible. It is a.